Hey, what's up guys, it's KARTHUS here. For those who don't know who I am, I'm a KARTHUS one-trick who peaked rank 5, 1647 LP in NA last split. If you're looking to learn or improve on KARTHUS jungle, you found the right video. This guide is going to be going over everything you need to know about playing KARTHUS in the jungle, so let's get right into it. Starting off, let's talk about what runes to take. These are the runes I use basically 99% of the time in the jungle. I take First Strike because not only does it give you extra damage in gold that scales very well into the mid game, it opens up the rest of the inspiration tree, which I think is the best to take on KARTHUS. Magical Footwear and Futures Market are both just OP runes in my opinion. With Magical Footwear, not only do you get your boots for free, the boots you get grant an additional 10 bonus movement speed. I know Futures Market got a little nerfed not too long ago, but that doesn't really matter because it's still a good rune to take. Some people like to take Cosmic Insight, but I found that Approach Velocity works better for KARTHUS. Whenever you gank a lane and use your W on an enemy champion, the movement speed you get typically takes the enemy by surprise and helps you stick to them, which greatly increases your chance of confirming a kill for your team. For my secondary tree, I like to take Eyeball Collection and Ultimate Hunter. Eyeball Collection at full stacks gives you an additional 30 AP, and Ultimate Hunter at full stacks gives you 31 Ultimate Ability Haste. KARTHUS Ultimate being a global undodgeable ability that hits all 5 champions at once, I'd like to say that reducing the cooldown is very beneficial for KARTHUS. For my shards, I like to take Double Adaptive, which gives 9 AP each, and I like to take health instead of armor. This is a personal preference thing because although your first clear might be a little weaker because you don't have armor, after level 4 the health actually outscales armor, so that's why I like to take health instead. For my summoner spells, I take Smite obviously, and I take Flash a majority of the time. Occasionally, I'll take Exhaust if the enemy team picks heavy melee champs or assassins in order to help win my 1v1 situations. I get asked why I take Flash so often, and that's because sometimes you just get punished too hard for not taking it, and not having Flash heavily limits the playmaking potential on any champion including KARTHUS. As far as what Smite you should take, I like to go Blue Smite every game, because KARTHUS' biggest weakness is mobility, so the bonus movement speed you get is huge. Not only does it help you travel through the map faster, but it also helps you in chasing and kiting enemies. I've also tried Red Smite in the past, but personally, to me it feels really weak, and when you're ulting, Red Smite only hits one person, so personally I like to take Blue Smite, but you can take either. When it comes to counter matchups, there's a misconception that perma invading KARTHUS is the best strat. However, I heavily disagree with this. As long as you're not dying to every invade, you'll be able to stay in the game and outscale because catch-up XP is really broken. Some champs I tend to struggle against are Kindred and Evelynn, but I think KARTHUS' true counter is any champion that provides shields to their team, because I can buy heal cutting, but I can't buy shield cutting. Now, if there's one thing I want you to learn from this guide, it's that clearing optimally is the most important part of playing KARTHUS. If you want to watch and learn how I clear, I'll leave my jungle clear video in the description below if you guys want to check that out. So I like to start blue buff every game regardless of what side of the map I'm on. If you follow my clear guide, you should have finished your full clear by 252 or 255-ish, depending on if you got a leash or not. Then, you can base, buy an Amp Tome and Dark Seal. You should be able to make it to the Scuttle Crab by 3:30, and there's a high chance you'll meet the enemy jungler there, and you'll have an item advantage over them, so you should be able to win the 1v1 pretty easily, especially if you have prio. Another option you can have is after full clearing, you can look to either counter gank and then take Scuttle Crab, and if the gank was successful, then you should be able to afford Lost Chapter, which is your first item power spike, and then it allows you to play more aggressive. Another more advanced early game option you can have is force splitting the map, also known as vertical jungling. This is only viable if you have a stronger level 1 bot side than the enemy team, so what you do is you invade their bot side as the buff spawns with your bot lane and start their red, so this leaves them with two options. They can either take the fight and they'll probably lose because of their weaker early game champions, or their jungler will be forced to start his topside camps, and after clearing his topside, they will probably invade you on your top side, but it doesn't matter because you only care about the camps on the bot side of the map. From here, you can look to free gank their bot lane and permanently dive them, and get your bot lane ahead of it because it's hard for the junglers to do anything about it. Now, let's talk about what items to build on KARTHUS. Riot recently announced that they're planning to get rid of Mythics, but that doesn't really matter to KARTHUS as he still has the same build path. Your first item should always be Liandry's. That's your core item, so the sooner you get it, the sooner you can 1v9. Your next 3 items are going to be Shadow Flame, Rabadons, and Void Staff, but in order to build them depends on your current game state. If you are solo AP, meaning the rest of your team does physical damage and the enemy team will not buy any magic resist, you want to go Shadow Flame into Rabadons and then Void Staff. If your team drafted multiple AP champs, odds are the enemy team will build magic resist, which means you want to go Void Staff into Rabadons and then Shadow Flame. However, if you are super ahead, you can buy Rabadons before going Void. Your last item typically can either be Morello's or Zanya's depending on whether your team needs to buy heal cutting or not. Situationally, if you find yourself super fed in the early game, you can purchase Medjais to snowball your lead, but personally I would only do this if your team is ahead. If your team is ahead, it's really easy to get stacks because you can just press R during fights and you can just get stacks from either kills or assists. Also, if the enemy team has multiple melee champs, I'd like to say 3 or more, it could be worth buying Rylai's after Liandry's and then going either Rabadons or Void Staff. Here are some examples of what full build on KARTHUS looks like. Throughout the mid game, you have 3 main objectives. 1 is clearing your camps as quick as you can and hovering your laners to look for opportunities to gank or counter gank. 2 is having your support roam with you and look for picks. And 3 is take neutral objectives. With Liandry's you can essentially solo drag or Rift Herald, so it's important to keep those timers in mind. Here are some tips and tricks that you can use while playing KARTHUS. So your W gives vision, so you should never be face checking any bushes when you can press W to get the vision, and you can be using it to scout stuff on the map as well. A lot of people ask me how they can hit more Qs, and I always tell them is that whenever you're playing against a melee champ and you don't know how to hit a Q, just Q on top of yourself while you're walking, or you Q where you think that they can auto attack you, so they're either forced to take damage while hitting you, or they won't hit you at all. There is only one single combo on KARTHUS, and it's pressing Q and then instantly pressing W to slow them to get the guaranteed Q damage to hit on the enemy. This is my first time doing a full informative video like this, so if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and thank you all so much for watching.